In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and will not be comforted because they are not. Matthew chapter 2, verse 18. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with a quick lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and today I believe is the 17th of January 2025. And we're about 3 days removed. 3 days away from the so-called presidential inauguration of Nero Trump. Okay, and the forecast, the spiritual forecast that is pointing to a very miserable time. All right, once this guy gets into power. Okay, and of course, for those of us who are watching, I think one of the brothers, I believe the brother ICR actually posted this in one of our group chats of his Trump's picture that he took for the inauguration, and he looks very menacing. All right, you compare that with his picture from 2016, 2017 to now. He went from smiling to a mean-looking guy. All right, so basically, they're subliminally letting people who are in the know, all right, know that yes, he's actually coming in this time not as a funny guy who cracks jokes, all right, on TV, all right, or says things that's just as funny, but now he's on some real shit, basically. All right, that's why he said before he comes into power, so to speak, the whole Hamas situation, he said if that's not resolved before he gets into power, all hell will break out in the so-called Middle East. All right, so now he's pushing a lot of basically threatening words, if you will. All right, his energy is very threatening. All right, in other words, he's about to carry out, all right, the agenda that's been set out for years. Okay, and all these presidents before him, including when he came in the first time, was to lay the groundwork. Okay, remember, it's always about a short-term and a long-term goal, groundwork. All right, and now through the Spirit, I believe they're about to roll these things out. Okay, they're about to definitely roll these things out because prior to Trump, all right, back in his first term, all right, his first 4 years, prior to that, the most that was happening was a lot of executive orders, a lot of legislations that became laws and so on and so forth, right? And then when he came in, pretty much his last year, all right, they had the whole CV, and then he pushed the whole concept of the whole warp speed thing, okay? And then Biden and them came in and continued what Trump had already started, all right? So it was under him that we shifted into a whole new world. And I believe through the Spirit that under him, we're about to shift into the next gear. Okay. If they want to push Agenda 2030, all right, you own nothing and you be happy. All right. 2025, they've been saying that they're going to depopulate. When you go on the Deagle website, which they took that shit down when people started looking into it a couple of years ago. But when it was up, when you actually go into it, they had the whole, all the countries that were going to be depopulated. All right, and America, I believe, was number 1 or number 2 on the list, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and when you look at the numbers, it was going from about 300 million plus, all right, 300 million people, all the way down to about 60, 70 million people after it's all said and done. Okay, so whatever they're about to carry out, whether it's going to be disease, germ warfare, whether it's going to be by so-called weather modification, or just outright war against the civilians, regardless of what happens, the Lord is going to deplete the population of Americans just like that. At least 75% people going to be out of here. All right, especially those who took the jump shot. All right, once they activate whatever it is that's in it, it's game over. All right, it's game over, man. And which leads me to part of the game over. They got something known as the end game. Okay, I did a video a couple of days ago, the first part. Now I'm going to continue with the second part. Now, I posted on a community page earlier this morning this short film, right? It's a cartoon kind of film, and it depicts, all right, what's to come very soon, all right, with I believe it was called the Post Reset, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and it shows this cartoon. I definitely recommend brothers watching it if you haven't already. Okay, and it kind of shows you how Esau is going to play these things out with AI and the robots and all these different things. You're not really going to be dealing with people once they set things in motion. Okay, so I believe they're going to use Trump to kind of push these things further and quickly. Okay, and it's going to result in a lot of death, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, as is written, Jacob's trouble. Okay, a time like never before. Okay, so let's lead into this this thing here called Rex 84. All right, and we've done countless videos on Rex 84 over the years, but it's more prevalent now than ever. Right, it's all making sense now, more now than ever, because based on what they plan or how they plan on going about this Rex 84, all right, the groundwork is already laid. Okay, when you have all these so-called migrants coming in, right, which is part of the plan, then it opens up the door for them to actually include American civilians as part of the problem. Okay, hence you have the DHS, DOD, and them, over the years been rounding up a whole bunch of ammunition, billions of rounds of ammunition, hollow point bullets, and so on and so forth. And they've already came out and said that the American soil is a battleground. All right, so if American soil is a battleground, then who are you going to be going up against? Right, the civilians, the enemies of the state, the so-called domestic terrorists that they've deemed to claim, or they've claimed that Americans are. Basically, anyone who opposes these new agendas that's going to be rolling out very soon. So if they burn down your house and you find out what really happened, it's not going along with the narrative that they're telling you, you're going to be deemed a domestic T, and they have every right and justification to come after you. All right, well, let's get into Readiness Exercise 1984, otherwise known as Rex 84. And it says, Rex 84 is a United States federal government program to test your ability to detain large numbers of American citizens, right? American citizens, okay? Exercises similar to Rex 84 happen periodically, right? And I believe, I forgot who, it was a senator, one of these senators, and he said, no, it might have been one of these people in the so-called defense, right? Department of Defense and so on and so forth. And I believe he said that these tests that they do is done to, what do you say? To desensitize the American public to these kinds of drills, right? Hey, come lay down. Hurry up. Let's go. Lay down. Right? So that's pretty much what they do, right? They're doing all these tests, all these drills, there's mass shooting here, and then this person did this, and then there's this happening, and all these traumatic events, so-called traumatic events, are done by design. It's all psychological warfare. See? So eventually they're going to roll out, the troops, and then it's going to be game on, But a lot of these people are not even paying attention to it, but we'll see. So shit's going to get real quick. All right. It says from 1967 to 1971, the FBI kept a list of persons to be rounded up as subversive, dubbed the 8X list. Okay. Texas Congressman Henry Gonzalez revealed many years ago plans of Rex 84, which former Colonel Oliver North helped design. The late Representative Jack Brooks, also of Texas, brought this concentration camp, this sea camp and internment program, as well as the continuity of government program, to light during the Iran-Contra hearing. The chairman refused to let North even talk about them in open hearings under national security. Okay? It says, Mr. Gonzalez stated these camps and plans were for the detention of Americans, okay, especially those who refused to surrender their weapons. right? And that's one of the things Trump said he's going to do. He said, I'm going to do everything in my power to protect the Second Amendment, your Second Amendment rights, right? He didn't say our Second Amendment rights. He says your Second Amendment rights. He excludes himself. Whenever you hear somebody who's a so-called leader of a population exclude himself from certain things, that's a red flag. Okay, because you're there to serve the interests of the people, right? Apparently, that's what it is, democracy, right? Well, by the people, for the people, that whole thing. You know how they say it, how it goes, right? So, is it for the people, by the people, some shit like that? I forget how it goes, but if Trump is supposed to be there for the people, and the people are the ones who voted him in, then he's supposed to be doing things to aid in what the people are interested in, right? But that's not what's happening, or that's not what's going to happen, right? It says the Rex 84 Alpha X plan, right, otherwise known as Readiness Exercise Plan of 1984, right? 1984. Remember George Orwell's 1984? It's very interesting, right? Okay. Indicates that FEMA, in association with 34 other federal civil departments and 34 and agencies, conducted a civil readiness exercise during April 5th to the 13th, 1984. It was conducted in coordination and simultaneously with a Joint Chiefs Exercise, Night Train 84, a worldwide military command post exercise, including Continental U.S. Forces, or CONOS, based on multi-emergency scenarios operating both abroad and at home. Now, what has the FBI and the DHS been coming out lately saying? That there's potentially going to be some form of multiple attacks in multiple different cities, right? So it might not take that long in order for them to enact martial law. You know what I'm saying? And within martial law, they could also enact medical martial law if we also get this whole BF thing to collide with it, right? Now, speaking of BF, went to the store. Eve went to the store today and came back talking about, they talking about there's rationing on the eggs. You know what I'm saying? Certain stores you go, you're not getting eggs, like a crate of eggs is like $7-8, you know? So you go to a different store where you could get organic eggs, so to speak, right? They said, there's rationing, so you can only get 2 crates, right? Or 2 dozen eggs. You know what I'm saying? I think a dozen is 12. So 2 of those. You know what I'm saying? That's all you could take. You can't buy more than 2. It's just 2 and that's it. I said, whoa, what? And then they put a sign there that says, due to the so-called BF, blah, 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 there's going to be rationing. So I said, damn, it's January and there's already rationing. So what the hell is going to happen in the spring? You know what I'm saying? Especially when these devils are talking about they're going to euthanize all these chickens, right? They're going to shift it over to the cows, the beef. So expect your grocery shopping list to be smaller, but much more expensive. You see what I'm saying? You want beef, you want chicken, you want all these things. Guess what? They're starting with the eggs. Soon, when you go to a store, you can't buy more than 2 packs of chicken. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be exponentially expensive as hell. You know, they're going to do the same thing with the meat, right? The beef, the pork, those wicked ass people that be eating pork, they're going to jack them prices up as well. Okay, because they've made it clear that the BF is attacking animals. See what I'm saying? They're going to wipe out all these animals in the name of climate change. Just watch. You know what I'm saying? When Klaus Schwab says you're going to eat the bugs and all that extra shit, this is how it starts. Okay, you probably never gonna get eggs back if this whole thing becomes what they're saying is gonna be, which is a so-called demic. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna attack not just the animal facet, but the human facet. See what I'm saying? So your food, your dieting, and so on and so forth is gonna be affected because they gotta come in with new rules, new regulations, and all this dumb shit, right? And then how you live your life, your personal life, is also gonna have to be altered. You see what I'm saying? Just to keep everyone safe. It's coming back, man. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. Okay. It says in the combined exercise, Rex 84 Bravo, FEMA and DOD led the other federal agencies and departments, including the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, the Secret Service, the Treasury, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is the FBI, and the Veterans Administration through a gaming exercise to test military assistance in civil defense. What does civil defense mean? Defending the country, the Constitution, defending parts of the country against the civilians. In other words, when the people start to rise up, okay, when Trump come in and he started pushing all these different measures that really don't align with what people are actually looking for, see, people are gonna get pissed and they're gonna start revolting. You're gonna see these states, these different cities getting people roused up, riots, protests, all kinds of shit. And he's gonna enact martial law. Okay, he's definitely going to enact martial law. Okay, and he's going to say, "Oh, to protect our beloved country, these radicals, these domestic teas have to be put under control, and it has to be done immediately." You know what I'm saying? All kinds of shit. You watch, you see. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to start rounding up people that they think are radicalized. You know what I'm saying? That's where you have the red and blue lists. Let's get into that, right? Many camps like the NAZI extermination camps have red and blue lines. Red list and blue list. Okay? The red list are people on the red list will be immediately exterminated. These are enemies of the so-called New World Order. And these people are people who are in leadership or public positions. Mirroring the strategy employed in Nazi Germany, 2 weeks before instituting martial law, these people will be dragged from their homes in the middle of the night and flown to FEMA camps to be exterminated. Now, that's the plan. Okay? And if it's a plan, you best believe that they've already done drills on it. And if they've done drills on it, that means that they're going what? They're going to play it all out. Okay? And if you're on the blue list, it says enemies are also enemies of the NWO, but not necessarily leaders. These people will be rounded up after the imposition of martial law and will be reprogrammed, all right, re-educated, right, in the concentration camps where they will also be used as for slave labor. Most will not survive. The yellow list, these are people who are ignorant and do not care about the NWO, who are likely to do whatever they are ordered to do, right? Those are the same people who went around and took the J. Well, for the most part, not all, because a lot of people who took the J, they kind of realized, that damn, this thing really wasn't it. They've kind of woken up to it. A lot of people have, but there's still people out there that have no idea what the hell is going on. They live in their so-called bubble, if you will, right? Former inspector for the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Department of Defense, Mr. C, is a quotes, elaborates on the red and blue list and what they mean. The red list is for pickup and execution before unobtrusive preparations for martial law are initiated. The blue list is also for execution, but later, within 6 weeks of martial law declaration. When you get picked up on a red list pickup, they'll take you from your home at night, probably around 4 a.m., and put you in a black van, then drive you to a helicopter waiting to fly your ass to an intermediate point. Okay? There you'll be loaded onto a big 64-passenger CH-47 Chinook helicopter and fly you to one of 38 cities where you board a 747, 737, or 727. I believe those are different types of planes, right? You may be taken straight to a red camp and executed. At some point, martial law will be declared. Martial law is when the writ of habeas corpus to have a trial by jury is suspended. Instead of going to the judge, you go straight to jail. At this point, and that's the jails, those C camps. You know what I'm saying? It says, at this point, the blue listed people will be picked up. At that point, the country will be regionalized into 10 regions. They already have that, right? Which are already designated by FEMA. See? The black choppers have state-of-the-art radio, or RF, radio frequency, wideband jammers, and can jam cell phones and CBs while they're executing black operations missions. This means that your cell phone could be jammed just before and or during any action against you, right? You got people like, oh, when it happened, I'm gonna call this. And they jamming your shit. How you gonna call? Who you gonna call? See, this is why we always emphasize the importance of being spiritual. Okay, all this carnal shit, niggas coming up against the men of the Lord. Oh, Jacob's trouble is this, and they ain't gonna be. He have no. When it actually happens, it's gonna happen so fast that you're not even gonna realize that it's actually happening. And then by the time you finally realize that it's happening, it's gonna be way too late. See, this is how subversion works. All right, subversion. Once the person is completely gone, you could show them all the facts, all the evidence in the world. They're not going to see it until they get to a point where, like, what's his name? Yuri Bezmenov said. He said until the bottom of a gun is smacked into the back of their head, then they're gonna realize, like, oh shit, this ain't no joke. You know, when you wake up and you hearing a different language being spoken, you got troops, but they speaking a different language from you. How you gonna be try to communicate with them niggas? That's if you're lucky to have human beings, because most of the people that's going, most of the things that's gonna be rounding people up and shit is gonna be machines, AI, robots, you know, all kinds of stuff. You know, drones flying over people and shit. You know, zapping you up if you fall out of line. You know, probably gonna have they're gonna put cloth in your mouth so you can't speak, you can't pray, you can't chant, you can't say shit, right? And then they're gonna blindfold you so you don't see what's going on. They're probably gonna have a brown sack over your head, you know what I'm saying, so you can't see anything, you know. And then you got shackles on your feet, shackles on your hands, you know what I'm saying. And then they tell you, oh, keep walking, you know. If you make any sound, shit, the barrel of the back of the gun to the back of your head, you know. It's gonna be messed up, man. But that's the times that we're entering into, you know. So continuing, it says, this means that your cell phone could be jammed just before or during any action against you. In June of 1996, an FBI agent got hold of the Region 3 Blue List from a CIA agent and found his own name on it and those of several others he knew in Virginia. Right? So you Congress people out there, you know, people that have spoken against the uprising of this tyrannical state, police state, you know what I'm saying? They've always spoken up against it. You got people like Ron Paul, you know, just an example, right? He just popped in my head. You know, if he's still alive during the times where these things pop off, they're gonna round him up. You know, Jim Jordan, all these different people. Hey, if you ain't sell out, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not pushing the agendas of the Jays, when this shit goes down, they're gonna round your ass up because you're against the agenda. You see? So continuing, it says, the regional blue list, and you know, it's interesting because now they're about to ban TikTok, right? And TikTok is kind of like a website that's been exposing a lot of these false narratives that's being pushed by these demons out here, right? A lot of truth comes out on TikTok. So if they're banning TikTok, right? Forget about the people that use it for all kinds of stupid shit. I'm talking about like truth stuff. If they're banning TikTok now, right before Trump comes in, what could possibly be about to happen that they don't want people seeing or talking about in a quick way? You know what I'm saying? Because YouTube is like, shit, you could barely make, you know what I'm saying, barely put out videos freely now. You know, I'll be surprised if this video even stays up. You know what I mean? But YouTube makes it very difficult to actually put the truth out there plainly. You know what I mean? You got to put disclaimers. You got to put all kinds of fair use, you know what I mean? They do it on purpose. And then even that, you still get your videos taken down. You know, or for some BS claims. But that's what they do. You know, that's what they do. So we're in those days, man. Persecution is definitely coming. All right, against the truth, against the scriptures, against those who actually seek the truth. You know. So it says the regional blue list stated that the names of the blue list would be picked up within 6 weeks of the actual martial law declaration. Right? 6 weeks, right? It will work if the 300,000 Soviet troops which are already here can get the guns. See? So when the border was open and you had all these people, I believe, I forget what brother said that. I believe it was the priest of Gabar. He mentioned that in his lesson, that they had all these people, and I believe the elder Malcolm also mentioned that as well, right? That they had all these migrants, so-called migrants, lined up. You know what I mean? And then somebody was going up asking them questions like, "Yo, where you from?" This thing, they say, "Oh, I'm from Iran." "Where you from?" "I'm from Iraq." "Where you from?" "I'm from Afghanistan." "Where you from?" "I'm from China." "Where you from?" "I'm from this." I'm like, damn, where they coming from? You know what I'm saying? Where are they coming from? And a few months ago, somewhere around 2024, they were saying that at least Biden and them were pushing for these so-called migrants to be quickly rushed through the process so they could be put into the military. I said, what? They gonna have guns and shit like that? Like, yo, that's crazy, you know? And they're gonna be using them against American citizens, right? So we'll see. Remember, if people are being protected by the Posse Comitatus Act, which it doesn't even exist anymore at this point, then they could just make an excuse and say, well, the UN troops are not American soldiers, so they could use them, right? Because Posse Comitatus forbids, all right, the Americans, the U.S. government to use U.S. military against American citizens on American soil, right? But if you're using the UN troops, which they're going to be the ones to be pushing things out, then it's not really American troops, right? So that's another workaround right there, you know? So continuing, it says, the ones doing all of this are operating out of the highest places in the federal government. They are cooperating with spirit guides and mediums and using astrology and numerology. And that's true. Look no further than CERN, right? When they come out and say, oh, we tapping into different dimensions and, you know, we're summoning up demons and all kinds of shit. It's like, yo, come on. They put it out there. See? But people don't, you know, put the pieces together, if you will. Right? Let's see. Okay. It says there will be an interim of probably just days from the time they launch the red list to the declaration of martial law, when they'll start coming after those on the blue list. It's the same blueprint being used because it's the same spirit leading the Fourth Reich as led the Third Reich. In Germany, they used trains. Here, it will be helicopters and 747s. Okay? They are now in the process of villainizing Christians, patriots, constitutionalists, and outspoken talk show hosts here in America. Okay? Who will be doing the actual picking up? Foreign UN troops, probably Muslim or communists. Over 30 foreign military bases under the United Nations flag are already set up in the United States. These bases are already manned with over 1 million troops from Russia, Poland, Germany, Belgium, Turkey, Great Britain, Nicaragua, and Asian countries. And they will have no qualms about firing on U.S. citizens. There are Russian tanks, military trucks, and chemical warfare vehicles outside Gulfport, Mississippi. And that, it says, that was hit by Katrina in 2005. Anyone see heavy military equipment and foreign troops near San Francisco? It happens all the time, you know? It says, there's not going to be some future event when the invading troops are going to show up. They are already here. And guess what? When you have ex-CIA members coming out and saying, oh, you know, we got sleeper cells in our cities and it's just a matter of time before they start wilding out, that's all you need to know. Okay? It's called priming. All right? They're already here. When martial law is implemented, these foreign UN troops will be policing our country. carrying out the plans of the NWO, you've been warned. Okay? So, hey man, Trump gonna be on some Stalin shit, some Hitler shit, so to speak. All right? And as the narrative goes, these people murdered a whole bunch of their own citizens, okay, in the name of regime change, in the name of setting up an agenda. And whenever those people revolted, they took them out. See? So the same pattern, same thing. They're going to be doing the same things. They've been building this up for years. All right? And now it's about to play out. Okay? Now it's about to play out. Okay? There's the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." And lately you've been hearing a lot about that. Oh, Trump just signed a peace deal with Israel and Palestine, Israel and Hamas, Gaza, whatever, you know. So it's like this spirit of so-called peace. You know, Trump is going to fix this. Trump is going to do that. Yeah, okay. We're going to see. We're going to see. All right. Let's close it out with this, because this is the goal right here. This the final showdown. All right. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great," meaning that time. All right. It doesn't mean one day. It's talking about a time period of time, right? "So that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble." There you go. "But he shall be saved out of it." Okay. In the NLT, it says, "In all history, there has never been such a time of terror. It will be a time of trouble for my people Israel, yet in the end, they will be saved." It's talking about the elect. All right. The elect will be saved. They will be delivered. All right. By Yahushua. Okay. And the angels. All right. So anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.
There's a lot going on right now. Decisions being made that are unprecedented and will have an overreaching impact on what it means to live in the United States of America. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives have just overwhelmingly passed the National Defense Authorization Act. Squeezed into this military funding bill are two provisions that give the military not just lots and lots of money, but lots and lots of power as well.
A new generation of surveillance drones could soon be watching us all. The Federal Aviation Administration is expected to announce plans to expand the use of domestic drones in American airspace.
Well, get ready to look up at the sky and see drones hovering above. As of now, unmanned aircraft could only be used by military airspace and by certain law enforcement agencies. But this week, Congress passed a bill that would allow for commercial and private use of the drones.
I have two words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
For shopping and dining over Thanksgiving and maybe watching some football games, big government Republicans and Democrats were busy shredding the last vestiges of the Constitution. Senators John McCain and Carl Levin want to enact a law that would declare the entire United States of America a battlefield for the military. They're talking about inserting the Army into domestic law enforcement. Senator Lindsey Graham, who supports this bill, says, quote, "The homeland is part of the battlefield, and people can be held without trial, whether an American citizen or not."
The Department of Homeland Security buying ammunition, now looking to purchase another 21 million rounds of ammunition. This in addition, of course, to the 1.6 billion rounds that Homeland Security has bought in just the past 10 months. Now, to put all of this in perspective, the military used approximately 70 million rounds each year of the Iraq War. 70 million rounds in a war.
If you look at what the Department of Homeland Security has been purchasing over the last year, it comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition, more than 7,000 fully automatic assault weapons, 2,700 MRAP type vehicles, and now drones. Those are instruments of war. Department of Homeland Security's, who are they going to fight a war against?
Something happened.
Robert Whitaker, the tactical supervisor for El Paso SRT for Homeland Security Investigations. Well, we have our big vehicle out here. It's our armored vehicle. It's an MRAP vehicle. It's mine resistant, ambush protected. That's what it stands for. That's what we use to deliver our team to high-risk warrant services.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
Important breaking news out of Boston, a pair of bombings rocked the finish line at the historic Boston Marathon.
It was never meant that we would have this gigantic police force from the federal government. I mean, we had martial law up there. FBI and all these agents coming in, closing things down, going to people's houses. Do we close down cities because there's 10 murders over the weekend in Chicago? We don't do that. But here we close down a whole city, not even allowed to go to a baseball game. I mean, I think it's very, very scary when I look at some of those pictures.
The military likes to perform war games, so that's why we're seeing military on the streets practicing. They are actually practicing. The tanks that we see on the streets and the National Guard patrolling neighborhoods and the practices that they're doing with our local police department, this is all in preparation for martial law, so that when they do actually lock down the country, they've got everything secured.
But I think what we're starting to see, for anybody who is objective at all, is we're seeing a totalitarian system now unveil itself. And ever since essentially 9/11 happened, it's been more and more of these draconian measures that are leading us right down the road to martial law.
Particularly to hear President Obama claim the power to keep people in prison indefinitely with no charges against them, no conviction, no sentence, just imprisonment. It's particularly stunning to hear him make that claim in the middle of a speech that was all about the rule of law.
This last week, the U.S. Congress passed a bill which repeals classic comitatus, which means that we have now institutionalized and codified martial law. Right now, the battle against terrorism involves all of us. Everybody in this country is a potential terrorist.
We don't even understand freedom anymore. We are a country that is headed towards socialism, totalitarianism, beyond your wildest imagination. I have to tell you, I'm doing a story tonight that I wanted to debunk these FEMA camps. I'm tired of hearing, you know about them? Sure. I'm tired of hearing, I wanted to debunk them. Well, we've now for several days done research on them. I can't debunk them.
I don't know anything about it.
It is our government. If you trust our government, it's fine. If you have any kind of fear that we might be headed towards a totalitarian state, look out, buckle up. There's something going on in our country that is ain't good.
And they find a little red dot or a little blue dot on their mailbox, and they wonder what the little red dot and blue dot is. Well, it's marking your mailbox by the government, so when foreign troops come in here on us after martial law, but if you have a blue dot, they take you to the FEMA camps being built by Halliburton right now to house 50 million Americans. They're building enough concentration camps in America by Halliburton. So I'm going to tell all of you, if you have not bought ammunition, if you have not bought guns, go get them now. Go get them now, because you won't be able to get them much longer.
Change has come to America.
Practice Christianity and you could be court-martialed. That could be the new law of the land for our armed forces, thanks to a proposal by a religious tolerance group that claims Christian evangelists are predators.
Is a war on religious liberty within the military, and that the Christianity of service members is now coming under attack by the Obama administration.
These two workers have microchips?
Right. Well, this is very, very real, and these microchips are about the size of a grain of rice. They get injected into your skin.
Film. Humans injected with a tiny chip holding the key to all of their private information.
But as you're about to see in our CBS 46 investigation, it's not fiction. In fact, it's being marketed in Georgia as life-saving technology. Life-saving technology.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
It is the first implantable microchip for humans. It has multiple security, financial, and healthcare applications.
One thing I would just suggest, I'm just an outside, soon-to-be investor. I love this idea, by the way, Scott. I think it's...
The Northside Independent School District in San Antonio has put tracking chips in the ID badges for more than 4,000 high school students.
Well, it looks and sounds like something out of the future, but a new palm scanning device will help Bossier Parish schools keep better track of what children are eating at. The electronic device will be implemented at all Bossier Parish schools.
Now we're seeing a complete totalitarian takeover of the United States of America. And we've been talking about this for years now. This is the police state. This is the police state. This is what a total breakdown of our society looks like. This is all intensifying around the Second Amendment. Should we be able to own guns or not? Let's take guns away from the people. These are very big, very hardcore issues.
No matter what your purpose is, you must leave. If you do not disperse, you may be arrested and or subject to other police action. The use of riot control agents and or less lethal munitions, which could cause risk of injury to those
Wall of police now moving in.
American, every person on the United States soil or international soil can be deemed as a terrorist. If they have really any reason to want to detain you, they don't need to acknowledge your Fourth Amendment rights.
It's what supported things like the Patriot Act and now the NDAA and the ever-encroaching police state.
By order of the City of Pittsburgh Chief Police, I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse. You must leave the immediate vicinity.
Urban military training exercises are becoming an increasingly common sight in many U.S. cities. The Department of Homeland Security has spent the past year acquiring more than 1 billion rounds of high-performance ammunition. Do these developments suggest concerns over a potential terrorist attack? Are they preparations for widespread social upheaval? Is there perhaps something even more sinister underway? As an insider at the Department of Homeland Security who described urban warfare training as, quote, desensitizing exercises all across the U.S., adding that, quote, we're being prepared for mass civil unrest in major U.S. cities. DoD will be expected to help when we're requested.